Morning. Wednesday, August 14th. Good morning. Wake up. It's another episode of Ty Sports Picks 24. Ty Sports Picks 24. I hope you guys made a lot of money off those picks yesterday. I believe we were undefeated, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to split these picks up today because, Vegas, they like to play games. Let's make sure we make some money. But let's get straight to the picks. We got an action-packed show. Okay, so in the MLB, we have Minnesota Twins money line, Arizona Diamondbacks money line, San Diego Padres money line, Boston Red Sox money line, and Washington Nationals money line. So lock those picks in. While you're busy doing that, the Cash App is at the bottom. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $TY Rebel 22, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at TY Sports Picks 24. So Cash App to donate to the channel is $TY Rebel 22. The Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is at TY Sports Picks 24. So go ahead and lock in those picks so we can get to the show. It's a lot going on. If you look at the title I put up, ESPN's Greg McElroy tells the truth. Yeah, he told the truth today. I don't know if he did it on purpose. If Colin Cowherd, he's a very smart guy, very clever guy also, kind of baited him into it. But hey, that truth serum, it really kicked in, and he kept it real, and I don't think he'll be penalized for it at all, because like Colin was alluding to, it's the wild world of sports for real right now with the whole NIL, and they're encouraging high school players being recruited with money instead of just recruited with relationships. But let's get to the topic. I think you got enough time to get those picks in. Okay, so Greg McElroy, which is the former Alabama national championship quarterback in 2009, went on to play for the New York Jets and Cincinnati Bengals, was having a back and forth with Colin Cowherd of FS1, formerly of ESPN, and they were talking about various things from the college football world. Who's overrated, who's underrated. You can go check it out. I don't want to tell the whole video. They were kind of speaking on Pac-12 teams, 4 Pac-12 teams, USC, UCLA, Washington, and Oregon transitioning to the Big Ten Conference, and how Washington and Oregon are already probably prepared up front to deal with the bully ball of the Big Ten. But USC maybe not so much. But can the Big Ten teams like the Iowas and the Wisconsins we're going to speak about later, can they outscore USC to 35, 28 points? So it's going to be a give or a take. It's not going to be like the Texas and Oklahoma that's kind of built like SEC teams, but they may not be ready for the physical week in and week out. Not even of the Alabamas and the Georgias, they may be ready for them, but are they ready for the Mississippi States, the South Carolinas, the Texas A&Ms, I won't say Missouri because they're one of the bigger teams now, but even the Floridas that may knock you off and upset you. Remember, I have Florida upsetting Texas at Texas because it's week after week after week. After you play Georgia, you play Alabama, are you ready for the mid-majors of the SEC, which is not really many of them? Kentucky, that's a ranked team a lot of times. But once we got deeper into the conversation with McElroy and Colin Cowherd, they started speaking about the situation with newly hired Los Angeles Chargers coach, formerly of the Michigan Wolverines national championship team, Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh. It's 2 of them, John and Jim. I believe John is with the Ravens, Jim is with the Chargers. Well, Michigan was inviting Jim Harbaugh back to celebrate the championship and to be an honorary captain of the team, but we all know that he missed about 5 or 6 games last year because he was suspended for the Connor Stallion debacle, where they had basically a guy that was supposed to be connected to Michigan's program that was going to games, standing behind the sidelines of the opposite team, stealing the signs, using video technology to steal the signs of the plays. And a lot of people were saying that it's not that serious, or it is that serious. And Colin hit everybody with a curveball, including Greg McElroy, when he said he can't really judge Michigan too much for it, because for the longest, as we've known, with the SMUs, with the Miami in the 80s and the 90s, they were giving people the death penalty and suspending them in college football for paying players. Now they're allowing to pay players. They're allowing to poach players with the transfer portal, because you do it, I do it. So we're telling on everybody. Like, it was a situation where LSU got a safety last year that Miami wanted because the Miami defensive coordinator came from that past school, and basically the smaller school, McNeese State, I believe, was going to tell on Miami and allude to them poaching their player. But the big schools can't do that because they're all poaching each other. Mario Cristobal was speaking about that the other day, and he wasn't quoted as saying it, but basically in so many words, get your money up, survival of the fittest. But Colin was basically saying, in a world like that where you can buy players, which is basically like bank robbery at this point, how can you charge somebody for jaywalking, which is stealing signs? Some people may agree or disagree, like, hey, the signs and the plays are what make you win. Some people say the Jimmys or the Joes, the players are what make you win. I think it's a combination. But as a former player, I told you guys that I'm not saying that everybody else's opinion doesn't matter, but former players like Greg McElroy and myself, whether you play high school, college, NFL, as it goes up, you learn more and more. I played college, little arena. But he was speaking on when he was in the NFL, part of the reason why he stayed around so long was stealing signs. When he left the Jets, it was a game in 2013 with the Bengals and the Jets where he told Pac-Man Jones the signs for the offense of the Jets, and Pac-Man caught an interception and took it all the way to the crib for a pick six. And he basically was saying, coming under Nick Saban, if you lost your signs, that's your fault. Self-accountability. I don't know if I agree or not, but the Oakland Raiders Al Davis old owner Al Davis would always say, just win, baby. And he was known for, cheating. They were known for, clotheslining guys. They were known for having to stick them on their hands. Yeah, that's before my time, but that shows you that I'm timeless. The stick-ems, that was something like greasy stuff you put on your hands back in the 70s, before guys had these new gloves that kind of like help you catch those one-hand catches. Because I remember Chris Carter was talking about that. A lot of these guys doing the Odell, they're not Odell. No, they just got stick-em gloves on. But before the gloves, a lot of guys were catching it, would stick them on their hand back in the 80s. That's why they wipe it on their jersey to be greasy, and they have to rip their hand off it. It was like Velcro. But basically, cheating has been going on in football for a long time. Some people say if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Some people say, hey, whoever got the most money get the best players. It's a give or take. I don't agree with it, but I do agree with players telling the truth, because you got a lot of fans that get in the comment section and they swear they know more about this than you actually did. I'm not a doctor. I would never try to go into a hospital and tell you how to operate on a body. I would never tell you that you don't have real knowledge on medical data. Now, I may tell you I know my body. You may know your team. You've been watching them for 100 years, but it was very refreshing to see a former player, just put that out there that, hey, it goes on. But Greg McElroy did clean it up by saying that with Connor Stallion, what he didn't like is you're going too far when you're taking video evidence, because that's what the Patriots got in trouble for one time back in the past. I think that was like the 2000. That wasn't even the 2010s, where they were actually going into the stadium and recording people's practices and walkthroughs. So it's a nasty job, but it's like some people say, you can know the play and still not beat it. But that doesn't mean that knowing the play doesn't help you, because that's why we watch film. That's why we, study people, But I don't know, you guys agree or disagree. I'm a former player. Once a player, always a player, because I'm ready today if I got to go. But you can still give your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. Is it cheating? Is it not cheating if you're trying? Is there levels to cheating? Since we're paying players right now, because everybody isn't paying the same amount. And speaking of paying players, shout out to Josh Petty, Georgia Tech commit. He's a 5-star. Now, On3 reported that he's actually getting paid $800,000 a year, supposedly, for the first 3 years on campus at Georgia Tech, because they see him as a 3-and-done guy. So $800,000 a year to be an offensive tackle at Georgia Tech. Hey, that's a lot of money, especially for Georgia Tech. I didn't know they were paying like that. I thought they were more of a 30 or 300,000, maybe even a 70,000 type NIL. I didn't know they had them kind of pockets. But hey, he said that it was the first school that ever offered him a scholarship, so it wasn't just about the money. I don't know if that's true or not. But hey, even in this world of money, some kids, I hear a lot of kids saying that they want to get coached up. They want to stay close to home. 100,000, $500,000, that's enough. They don't have to go to the highest bidder. And then plus you got to think about taxes and different things. It's not just the money, but we're going to skip on to the next topic. SEC fall camp. Now, I've been talking about the videos that schools have been putting out. Some have been putting out chopped up 2-minute clips. That don't count. I can make my dog look like an all-star if I just cut out the bad plays they made. I'm like, hey, sit down, roll, sit, get in the cage, and the dog bark at you, but you cut that out, and you got them thinking you Caesar Milan, and you're not a dog whisperer. It's the same thing with players and with football. So we're not gonna respect the teams. I'm not even gonna name them that are doing a little slick thing, putting out the shortcuts. But shout out to the Florida Gators. They've been putting out kind of like longer videos. No, take that back. Shout out to Arkansas. Now, they were doing bad. I was criticizing them, but they're looking good. They're still not as athletic as the other teams they'll face, but I like the quarterback they got from Boise State, and I just like the overall effort and execution moving forward. Now, this is like round practice 12, I believe, today, but if you go back last week and before, they were looking bad, but that's a good thing because it's all about progress. That's why you practice. If you looking the same every day, there's no point to practice. You either get better or you get worse. But Alabama, roll tide. Not to be biased, you got to give it where justice due. Go look up Alabama first preseason scrimmage. Not only did they put out the warm-ups like most people do, they put out the whole scrimmage. They're basically telling you, we not scared. Now, I'm sure they have plays that they didn't show, but they got Justice Hayes out there doing this thing. Jam Miller out there doing this thing. Remember, that's what I criticized Nick Saban for, because usually he trusts his freshman running backs, even freshman wide receivers. But I felt like he showed favoritism to his older running backs last year, and it kind of bit him in his butt because so much in the running game was put on the quarterback, Jalen Milroe, and Roy Dale Williams, a guy that I think may contribute for Florida State. He just really wasn't a fit for the way they run the ball at Alabama. I think he's more of a catching back. Even though he's kind of big, I just feel like the way they run the ball, he's more a lateral guy, is downhill with Alabama. He just didn't fit, and the freshman did. I saw Justice Hayes since last year's spring game, and they just didn't want to give him the ball. When they did, he did well. But now it's Jam Miller, Justice Hayes, and the Floridian Richard Young. So don't expect it to be a new Alabama just because Kalen DeBoer is there. They're looking like Kalen DeBoer's Washington with the passing game, but they're looking like Nick Saban's old Alabama with the Eddie Lacy and the Trent Richardsons and the Mark Ingrams and the TJ Yeldons. I remember when I was in the safety room at Ole Miss, they used to always talk about, damn, I don't want to tackle TJ Yeldon. Yeah, they used to talk about you, TJ, so shout out to you. But that's what Alabama's running attack is looking like. Speaking of running attacks, Florida Gators, even though it's unfortunate Montrell Johnson is out for the Miami game, most likely, which you never know. But the freshman, not only do you have the sophomores, I believe his name Jakeem Jackson, and then you got Trayon Webb, but those freshmen, not only are they gonna play, they might take up the bulk of the snaps because Jaden Ball and KD Daniels. I saw this from their highlights, their extended highlights coming out of high school. See, when you watch the film, sometimes you can see who can play. You also can see who can play right away. Now, I know they talk about freshmen blocking, but I don't think Jaden Ball, he won't have a problem blocking in the pass game. And he looks like he can catch and move around. I gave, an example in the NFL with the Breland Allen guy. He's not as big as Breland Allen, but he's a big boy. He carries that weight well. He's more quick than fast. He kind of got that Le'Veon Bell to him. He will run you over. He'll run past you. He'll shake you out your draws. Beware of Jaden Ball. Now, going to Texas. Texas not only lost C.J. Baxter, which is a Floridian, originally from Palm Beach, but he went to high school in Orlando. He out for the year, got hurt with a knee injury. He was supposed to be the Texas starting running back. He did well as a freshman. He's not a true sophomore, but I guess he'll be a redshirt sophomore because unfortunately next year he'll be playing. He won't be playing this year. Get a medical. But also the running back behind him actually got an Achilles injury a few days afterwards. So now Texas is down 2 running backs. So now Jared Gibson, along with probably their third or fourth running back. Jared Gibson is like a former 5-star. They dropped him to a 4, third running back in the country for the 2024 class, a freshman. He's going to have to step into a starting role because C.J. Baxter is out for the year and Christian Clark is out for the year with an ACL. So C.J. Baxter got the knee injury and Christian got the Achilles. So that's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. And then also there was a running back injury to the running back for Kentucky, Kentucky's running back is also hurt. So the SEC schools, you got to be careful. A lot of these injuries were non-contact, but I don't know if it's the medical staff, or maybe it's just their time. I don't know, because it's unfortunate for Texas for you to lose 2 running backs. For you to lose 2 running backs, that's crazy. Florida, at least they have backups to come in. But Kentucky, I don't know what they're gonna do with a Chip Trainum. I guess that's how you say his name, but he's only going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks supposedly, so he'll miss 2 games probably, 1 or 2 games. Now moving on, also in the SEC, who else would I take a look at? We covered, I think that's pretty much everybody I saw. We still haven't seen much from Georgia. They just been talking about practice, but they haven't been showing any video evidence, so we'll see. I guess we have to take their word for it. I don't know if they got the discipline thing down pat. LSU has been showing up. It's still more like wide receivers, defensive backs. We want to see what they're going to do towards the line of scrimmage. They got a great offensive line, but where's that defensive line and that linebacker group going? Because you got to be able to stop the run, and give the DBs time. Actually take away time so that the DBs don't have to cover as long. But the DBs aren't great at LSU, but they're looking a little bit better, because it was bombs over Baghdad last year, and they still went 10-3. So that's pretty much my wrap up for SEC. I told you about the injuries at Texas. Other than that, they're looking crisp. Texas A&M, I haven't heard a peep out of them. Ole Miss, we actually got a Deion Smith, which is the number 1 JUCO wide receiver. He's eligible now. He had like a 2-3 day thing where he had to get straight with the clearinghouse. The guy on Locked On Rebels, Locked On Ole Miss, was actually upset about that. But Deion Smith is now cleared. So now we have all SEC Juice Wells, all SEC and probably all American Trey Harris, which they say he's taking a step. And when you're already the best wide receiver in the SEC and you taking a step, he may be the best wide receiver in the country. That might be up for grabs. So let's look out for that. And also with Florida, I wanted to mention they've been trying to keep him under wraps, but don't forget about Elijah Badger. He was one of the top receivers in the transfer portal out of Arizona State. He is to be reckoned with. They say some of the backups like Aiden Mizell and Andy Jean and Marcus Burke have been stepping up, along with the tight end Arliss Borningham, which is going to be a sophomore. So it's a lot to look out for with the Gators. They did have the injury on the defensive line, but they're going to have the next man step up. The secondary is looking good. The tackling problem, they just thudded. They didn't really go to the ground too much, but the tackling problem seems to be fixed. So we're going to see what the Gators can do. Now, the University of Miami, freshman playing for the U. Now, we all knew in the spring, we got this tight end / fullback / he's a monster. Go look at his high school highlights. Go see the spring game. He didn't do as much, but this kid, Elijah Lofton, they say he's going to be one of the greatest to ever do it at the U. They haven't been talking about him as much, but they mentioned him again yesterday. We all know about the JoJo Trader kid out of Chaminade that should play a little bit. And then Jordan Lau, the running back from St. Thomas, is definitely going to get a lot of burn, maybe even in the Florida game, because we're not sure about Mark Fletcher's health, and it's not really worth it because everybody says that Jordan Lau is on fire. He's blocking, he's catching, he's running. He's very physical. Coming in, I believe like 6 feet, 5'11", about 205 pounds, maybe. It seems like he gained a little weight, but it's all muscle. So he's going to be a factor. But on the defensive side, everybody was complaining about recruiting ranks, but Ryan Mack got a 4th star, which is the son of I don't know if his father's name is Daniel Mack. It's something Mack, but Ryan Mack, he's a UM legacy, and basically he went from being a guy that was unknown during the season at St. Thomas to being a guy that made it to the All-American game and shut all of the All-American wide receivers down. When he was an alternate, he wasn't even supposed to be an All-American, and he jumped up, but he didn't come in spring, and neither did his teammate OJ Frederick. They might be calling him OG in the future, the way he's coming, because based on what's been coming out of fall, it's almost certain that not only will OJ probably play in that slot, he's probably slotted to start because they don't have a slot corner after losing to Corey Couch to the NFL, I believe, to the Buffalo Bills. And that's another thing. A lot of the DBs last year were looked at as a weakness, and then Miami sent like their whole secondary to the NFL. I think they sent 2 cornerbacks. No, they sent a corner. They sent a nickel, and then they sent both safeties. So one cornerback is back, but he'll be going to the league this year in Porter. So now you got Porter, you got Damari Brown, which they say is probably an NFL player, but he's a true sophomore. And now you got OJ, maybe OJ the OG. We're gonna call him that, even though he's the YG right now, playing in that slot. And he jumped over his high school teammate Mac, because a lot of people thought, based on the All-American game and on the senior tape, that Mac would be the guy. You know, he has great fundamentals, but now they're saying Mac is good. But OJ is just something that's taking over this kid. He's a former wide receiver. We all know about the Trayvon Diggs and the Richard Shermans. A lot of former wide receivers that go to defensive back, if they could take on the physical side of tackling and everything, they know the routes. The two most dangerous defensive backs are ex-quarterbacks and ex-wide receivers. They're going to get that ball. And they say OJ Frederick has not only been breaking up passes, he's been catching interceptions on Cam Ward. See, that's specific. They were talking about the defense, not sure if the offense was good because they were catching interceptions, but a lot of those were against the backups. No, OJ's picking off Cam Ward. Cam Ward does not throw interceptions. Every year he's played, Cam Ward has had single-digit interceptions and had touchdowns in the 20s or the 30s, you know, throwing for 3,000-plus yards. This is probably the best quarterback in all of college football, because the ACC is probably the best quarterback conference now that there's no Pac-12. You know, it used to be out west. You know, Big 12, they pretty good, but the ACC from top to bottom, when you talk about Georgia Tech, when you talk about Florida State, when you talk about NC State, the ACC, for some odd reason, I don't know why, they got a lot of quarterbacks, and Cam Ward was picked out of them all to be the ACC Player of the Year preseason. And this true freshman out of St. Thomas Aquinas, nationally ranked team, state championship team, coming off another state championship. I don't know how many that is, what, like 4 or 5 in a row. OJ Frederick, he is a problem day one for the U, to the point where his teammate that was supposed to be a surprise is getting surprised and surpassed by OJ. And that doesn't mean Ryan Mack isn't that guy. I saw that with my own eyes. I'm hearing about OJ. I saw his film from high school. He looks athletic. He looks good. But I saw Ryan Mack, and he looked like a more finished product. But now it seems like OJ, with another year at defensive back, he's just taking off, because you got to remember, he's a wide receiver. He even played both ways at St. Thomas, and they say that's unheard of because there's so many athletes at St. Thomas. They don't really let guys play special teams, offense, and defense. He was returning kicks. He was playing wide receiver. Guys don't really do that, because you got to think, they got a wide receiver right now, freshman at Miami, Chance Robinson, which already looks like an NFL player, and he's not probably going to even touch the field after those 4 games before the red shirt. He'd probably get a little bit of burn, but they just don't need him because they're that stacked at receiver. And OJ was playing receiver in the same receiver group with him and playing cornerback at St. Thomas for that state championship team. So OJ is somebody to look out for. Zaquan Patterson at safety coming out of Chaminade. It's just a lot of big things going on with Miami with the freshmen. Then Paul Feinbaum strikes again. Somebody stop this man. Now he's saying that Texas A&M, the same Texas A&M that has all those top recruits, has the coach from Duke, Mike Elko, that was formerly their defensive coordinator. They got their quarterback back, Connor Wickman. They got that defensive line. Paul Feinbaum is saying that they'll be lucky to win 8 games. They might win 7. When is the disrespect going to stop? He said Florida State won't be ranked at the end of the year. He says that USC's coach Lincoln Riley is going to show the world what a real average mediocre coach is about. Paul Feinbaum, are you the SEC's Stephen A. Smith? Are you just trying to go viral? I don't want no smoke. I just got questions. I got questions, man. I can't understand what's going on. Do you really mean this? Texas A&M will be lucky to win 8. I think they'll probably win 8, maybe even 9. I don't know. Because Elko is nothing to play with. You know, he like Wu-Tang Clan. He ain't nothing to play with. But we're going to see Paul Feinbaum. I hope everybody keeps the receipts. I want you to YouTube his name, and let's look at everything he said in the preseason and see what it is come November. No smoke. I respect him. Maybe one day I'll be your colleague at ESPN. You know, God blesses his child. But I have to call him out. He's calling out bold statements against Florida State, against Texas A&M, against USC, against Michigan, saying that Michigan is overrated. Michigan just played in the national championship. Michigan has 4 high round draft picks for next year's draft. And you know they're going to have some surprise guys that are going to pop up. And they are predominantly a running team, but they have a very athletic quarterback in Alex Orji. If they can just get him to make the no average passes, they'll do fine. Remember last year with Jalen Milroe, he wasn't so good up into the South Florida game at Alabama, and then they fixed him. I think Michigan with an offensive-led coach in Sharon Moore, I think he can help Alex Orji become a playmaker, similar to the guy from South Florida that they had from Deerfield. Remember Shoelace? Remember I can't think of his first name. Denard Robinson. Yeah, I think he could be like a Denard Robinson, Jalen Milroe type of guy. And with all those athletes on the offensive defensive line and the defense period, I think Alex Orji can do a lot. And don't forget, the man on the cover of College Football 25 is still running at Michigan, Donovan Edwards. I don't know why everybody keeps saying, oh, they lost too much. They didn't lose too much to be on the cover of the game. So it's conflicting stories, baby. So I don't know what this whole thing is with this Michigan hate. I don't know. Maybe it's like they're getting paid to just not like certain teams. I hope that's not true. Because, there's been accusations of SEC bias, but this isn't even about the SEC because I'm an SEC bias guy. But I love Michigan, man. Go blue. Buckeyes, go drown in the lake. No, I'm just playing, You don't got your own lake anyway. That's Lake Michigan. I don't think they got Lake Erie or something. I don't know. But I don't want no smoke with Ohio. Back to the SEC. My former coach, Hugh Freeze. One of his assistants was interviewed. Kent Austin said this about the quarterback 2 competition. They have their starter quarterback still in Peyton Thorne, but a lot of people have been displeased. He has certain physical limitations, but I know Hugh Freeze is a quarterback whisperer. But there's a fight for the backup quarterback at Auburn. I know I should have mentioned that in the SEC thing, but it was really, really about injuries and about surprise guys. But will these backups end up being number one? Because they're making a big fuss about the Auburn backup quarterback position. He's quoted as saying that the competition for backup quarterback position, or QB2, is between redshirt sophomore Holden Guriner. Hope I said your name right, Holden. And a redshirt freshman, Hank Brown. Austin said that the two are probably on the same level and that he would be pressed to choose between the two. Well, you know what they say. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. But since this is the number 2 quarterback, you have no number 2 quarterback. They also have, I believe, Walker White. That was a 5-star. He's a true freshman. Maybe he'll have something to say about it because it's not like you have to choose the second quarterback right away as long as you have a starter. But as time goes on, maybe Walker White will walk right in and walk past Brown and walk past Guriner. So we'll see. But we do know Auburn has struck gold with Coleman, their 5-star wide receiver. They've struck gold with I forget the guy's name. I'm sorry. Let me pull up their transfer. Sorry about that. I knew your name. Sorry about that. But this show is live. Okay. Keandre Lambert-Smith. So now they got 2 weapons outside. Hugh Freeze don't need much. And then, they always got running backs at Auburn. So with the quarterback RPO game, with the 2 wide receivers on the outside, I think Auburn can do some things. I haven't given my season prediction, but I did predict them to upset Alabama. An 11-0 Alabama team will go and play Auburn in the Iron Bowl, and they will get their first and only regular season loss. So tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comment section. One guy already responded. He said, how can Auburn beat no, I did do an Auburn preview. I'm lying. How can Auburn beat Alabama and lose to Cal? Well, this is football, sir. Just because you beat one team doesn't mean you're going to beat another. And there's something called upsets and matchups. Last year, Auburn actually lost to New Mexico, and then they beat the crap out of Alabama for 4 quarters until a Hail Mary at the end of the game. So just because you lose to a sorry team doesn't mean you can't beat a great team. It's only one game. That's why I'm telling you with this playoff, everybody's saying, oh, it should be 5 SEC teams. Why? I'll say 4. I won't even say 3. I'll say 4. But let the other 8 spots go to people around the country, and let's see what you got. Because I guarantee you, if you got a 4-round playoff, I highly doubt that some of these SEC teams aren't going to take a fall because they've done it in the regular season. Last year, the ACC was 7-5 against the SEC. And I love the SEC, but what I'm trying to make a point of, just like Dade County football, the state of Florida football, any football, anything, you have to maintain dynasties, and you can't do it by being mediocre and cheating. I know we spoke about cheating earlier with Greg McElroy, but this is different. You don't want to skew the competition your way because you're trying to make it easy for you to get in the playoffs saying, oh, we lost 4 games, we lost 3 games, but we're in the SEC. No, make every game count because that's what it's going to be like in the playoff. But if you get in the playoffs slacking with 4 losses and 3 losses, and then this other team got 1 loss out of the Big 12 or 1 loss out of the ACC, Clemson has beat SEC teams over and over again. Florida State beat a 10-win SEC team in LSU. Stop playing like you guys don't lose or like we don't lose. I'm a part of it. You know, I've been a part of Ole Miss programs that beat Alabama and lost to Memphis. Y'all know? And Memphis ain't no joke. They're actually cheating. They should be in the ACC or the Big 12. They too big for a group of 5 because if they get that group of 5 playoff spot, Memphis, I love y'all. You know I got love for the M. But y'all know y'all ain't no real group of 5 program. Y'all need to be, if UCF is a Power 5, Memphis is a Power 5. Stop it, man. Cincinnati done moved up. Memphis need to move up. Stop beating up on them small schools. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about, Wisconsin, the Badgers. Shout out to Tyler Van Dyke. Everybody in the Miami crowd said he'd never get the starting job. You're wrong, big wrong. I just think he didn't fit the program. But it's not even about that. It's about breaking news. Wisconsin's Luke Fickell, former Cincinnati coach, former defensive coordinator for those great Ohio State teams in the 2010s with Urban Meyer. You know he's going to handle the defense, and then Wisconsin's known for toughness in offensive linemen in general. So what's going to happen when you put Tyler Van Dyke with some weapons? You know, they got some weapons, always have running backs, but will they be able to achieve their real potential with 6 freshmen either playing or starting? Okay, Kevin Haywood, he's going to be starting at right tackle. Then you got Emerson Mendel and you got Colin Cubberly. They're going to be running with the 2 that left and right tackle. So they might rotate in. Then you got Dylan Jones and Darian Dupree, 2 running backs. That don't really surprise me because Wisconsin plays freshman running backs. And then you got a South Florida native, a guy that chose Wisconsin over Miami. Maybe he knew about OJ and Ryan Mack. Or maybe he didn't. Maybe he just doubted that freshmen can play, but he's wrong because OJ is going to play and Ryan's probably going to play later on in the season. Mark my word. Remember Damari Brown played, but long story short, Xavier Lucas from American Heritage is going to be playing at corner or playing at DB. I don't know exactly where they're going to put him. It says, I think that Xavier Lucas on the outside is a kid that we are going to have to find a way to play. Quote, Luke Fickell. He's very, very talented. So he said it 3 times, not 1, not 2, but 3 times. He's very, very, very talented. And the good thing is we've got a little bit of depth there that gives us opportunity to be able to play some different guys and play a bit deeper. So they have depth and they still want to play Xavier. So it's not like they're playing him out of necessity. They're playing him because he's the best they see. Not necessity, the best they see. So that's the show for today. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is at the bottom at Ty Sports Picks 24. Please donate to the channel so it can grow. Cash App $TY Rebel 22 for the people that showed up late that didn't see the picks. It's in the description. Or here goes the picks before we end the show. We got MLB picks, Minnesota Twins money line, Arizona Diamondbacks money line, the San Diego Padres, the Boston Red Sox, and the Washington Nationals. Also, I had some people complain about me speaking too fast, so get in the comment. Let me know, am I working on my speed? I try to slow it down for you guys, but you try to speed up listening too, like they say in the old rap songs. So I hope you got your picks. I hope you have a great day and make some money. I know school's starting, so you guys need money for your kids' school clothes. So this is how you double up and triple up on your salary, So let's put those picks in. Let's go.